On June the 5th, 1967 at 7:45, 180 fully armed jets took off for a surprise attack on the Egyptian air bases. The Israeli government realized that the chance of surviving a coordinated attack led by the more powerful enemy was nil, and decided that the attack was the best defense.
The first day of the 67 war was the toughest, I believe, in every pilot's.
I am sorry to say that your mass media, the Western mass media, always beside the Israelis. Your baby in this area. And you are forgetting completely this organized terrorism, even in the United Nations, the Security Council. You refuse to condemn this barbarian attack on the South, but you bless it. And you said that we accept the raid, but it was a little bit more than required. I have to ask those who used to speak about human rights. Where is this human rights there in the South? Did you see the picture there? Our camps, Lebanese villages who had been smashed completely, some of these villages had been smashed with Phantom, with Skyhawk, with Mirage, with F-15, with Cancer bomb, with Lance rocket, with the Navy. Civilian war, yes, because it is your baby who did it. It is Israel who did it.
So we moved into the south, also intending to kill as many as we can and destroy as many of the bases as they have, and then asked the civilized world whether they have a solution. Presently, there is a suggested solution that is in the making. We'll see how it operates. If it's successful, very nice. If not, we'll have to take into account the results.
If the Palestinians remain south of the Litani, will you still withdraw completely out of Lebanon?
There are no Palestinians south of the Litani except in the Tyre area now.
If they remain there, will you withdraw right out of the Lebanon?
We shall withdraw when the United Nations forces take over and take responsibility that no military action is taken against us from South Lebanon.
How long will it be, do you think, judging now, before you are out of South Lebanon?
I hope that as soon as possible. I hope that within 3 weeks, a maximum of 4 weeks.
But the PLO does not accept the principle of ceasefire against Israel. Moreover, Yasser Arafat intends to return to the south.
For me, I can't say, or I can't accept for ceasing fire, as they are still there in the south. And I will continue fighting till they will withdraw from the south.
Does that mean that once they are out of the south, you will be in to do whatever you were doing there before, training, etc., in exactly the same ways before? Or will the UN be there, and will they be able to stop you doing what you want, or do you respect their right to stop you? What's your feeling about that?
We have to understand what is the task of this United Nations forces. It is to control the withdrawal of the Israelis from the south. Not to forget that our existence in this area due to an agreement, or many agreements between us and the Lebanese authorities. It's very important. So we are there due to this agreement. And according to this, it is our right to return back.
You expect the situation that existed before the invasion to become again the situation in the future?
Why not?
ما عاصم له نزل
Used that as a sanctuary to continue their riots, started throwing rocks from the sanctuary of the mosque. Police cordoned off the area in order to arrest those rioters. The Waqf approached the Israel police, requested from the Israel police with their assurance that the rioters would not continue rioting. Eventually the rioters were allowed out of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, were escorted by policemen from the Temple Mount.
المشكلة هي الاحتلال، والمشكلة هي العدوان، والمشكلة هذا التصعيد الصهيوني الذي يصل من رفح حتى باحات المسجد الأقصى المبارك.
Israeli riot police rushed forward, firing rubber-coated steel bullets, trying to disperse hundreds of Palestinian protesters in El Bire on the West Bank. This was the day of rage Palestinian leaders called for to protest Israeli policies on the Temple Mount, or the Haram al-Sharif as it's known to Muslims, side of the Aqsa Mosque. As long as we don't have Al-Aqsa and don't have a country, vows protester Noor, we'll stay here and fight this intifada. Israeli forces fired volley after volley of tear gas, while trucks sprayed copious quantities of what's known as skunk water, putrid-smelling, chemically treated liquid intended to disperse crowds. The crowd dispersed, but quickly regathered and went back to throwing stones. The protests spread to Gaza, where Israeli forces killed at least 7 Palestinian demonstrators, wounding more than 90, according to the Palestinian Red Crescent. At Friday prayers in Gaza, Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh praised what he called the heroes of knives and lone attacks, saying that the battle for Jerusalem is our battle. And there were more such attacks. Outside the Israeli settlement of Kiryat Arba in the West Bank, a Palestinian man was shot dead after he tried to stab a police officer and grab his weapon. While in Afula, an Israeli town just north of the West Bank, an Israeli Arab woman was shot multiple times by off-duty security personnel. Police say she had taken out a knife, although it's not clear in the video what she's holding. Reacting to the incident, an Israeli Arab member of the Knesset accused the Israeli police and media of encouraging execution of Arabs in cold blood, all contributing to tensions at a fever pitch.
Heightened security is continuing in and around all of the country in the different areas, including major cities, Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and in the south.
And against this backdrop, the few appeals for calm are being drowned out by the roar of clashes. Ben Wiedemann, CNN, the West Bank.
گاهی سردمداران رژیم صهیونیستی ما رو تهدید هم میکنن، تهدید به حمله نظامی میکنن، اما به نظرم خودشون هم میدانند و اگر نمیدانند بدانند که اگر غلطی از اونها سر بزند جمهوری اسلامی تل آویو و حیفا رو با خاک یکسان خواهد کرد. آمریکایی‌ها اظهار خوشحالی کردن، گفتن فلانی اعتراف کرد که تحریم ها اثر گذاشته. بله، تحریم ها بی اثر نبود، میخوان خوشحالی کنن بکنن. تحریم ها بالاخره اثر گذاشت. این هم یک اشکال اساسی در خود ماست. اقتصاد ما دچار این اشکال است که وابسته به نفت است. ما باید اقتصاد خودمون رو از نفت جدا کنیم. این رو باید دولت‌های ما در برنامه‌های اساسی خودشون این رو بگنجانند. وقتی برنامه اقتصادی یک کشور متصل باشد و وابسته باشد به یک نقطه خاص، دشمنان روی اون نقطه خاص تمرکز، گفتگوهای هسته‌ای تمام بشه و مناقشه هسته‌ای حل بشه. وگرنه اگر اونها
Today we reaffirm the unbreakable bond of friendship between Israel and the United States. A friendship built on our shared love of freedom, our shared belief in human dignity, and our shared hope for an Israel at lasting peace. We want Israel to have peace. But we are more than friends. We are great allies. We have so many opportunities in front of us. But we must seize them together. We must take advantage of the situation. And there are many, many things that can happen now that would never have been able to happen before, and we understand that very well. My visit to Saudi Arabia, I met with many leaders of the Arab and Muslim world, including King Solomon, who treated us so beautifully and really wants to see great things happen for the world. He really does. I got to know him well, and he really does. America welcomes the action and support of any nation willing to do the hard but vital work in eradicating the violent ideologies that have caused so much needless bloodshed and killing here and all over the world. We are willing to work together. I believe that a new level of partnership is possible and will happen, one that will bring greater safety to this region, greater security to the United States, and greater prosperity to the world. This includes a renewed effort at peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians. And I thank the Prime Minister for his commitment to pursuing the peace process. He's working very hard at it. It's not easy. I've heard it's one of the toughest deals of all, but I have a feeling that we're going to get there eventually.
Ever wondered why? All this fuss about a piece of featureless, dry, inhospitable middle of nowhere land. It is a barren piece of dry land, where nothing grows from the ground. Forget cultivation of crops. If you strip away all the so-called historical structures that are currently on that piece of land, you think anyone would even think of inhabiting such a featureless dry place? Don't you think it would be like the rest of Sinai Peninsula, a desert? This documentary has nothing to do with religion. If you think it is, then you must stop this video right here and not waste your precious time. We at Leah Nebula respect every religion and their followers. This video is about why is this place called Jerusalem is in such never-ending turmoil? What could be the reason behind such violence? If every conflict between humans, in history, have one way or another resolved peacefully, why is this conflict seem to so indefinitely posed to last, with no end in sight? If you wish to know, come with us. This is one path you must think before you take. If your life is at peace, then remain where you are. If you want to come along, then drop everything that has ever been read or taught to you from childhood. Drop your belief system, your faith, your identity and your society. Because all these attributes which I just mentioned will only create conflict in your mind, and prove detrimental in our effort in the journey we are about to take. Things you hear and will see, you will be barely able to comprehend. We are here 450 to 500,000 years in the past. Some astronauts have just arrived from a distant planet to mine on Earth. They are here to mine for a ore that would save their planet's atmosphere, which is at a critical stage and threatens the very existence of life on their planet. They have made a brave adventurous and treacherous journey from their home planet, through our solar system. Their leader Enki, has proved his leadership skills, by bringing everyone on board, to land safe and sound, on this strange planet called Earth. They land in a marshy area which is presently known as the Persian Gulf. They are busy setting up camp. These astronauts, headed by Enki, first established their base at a place called Eridu, meaning house far away. Next was a place called Bad Tibra, meaning a bright place where the ores are made final, or in other words a metal smelting place. Then they established a place called Larak, meaning seeing a bright glow. It was a landing place for spacecrafts. Next was a place called Shurupak, meaning a place of utmost well-being, a medical care center. Another beacon city called La Arsa was also established. In total, there were about 600 Anunnaki astronauts on Earth and in space during the peak operations. Anunnakis were smelting gold and sending it to Nibiru. They wanted to establish the first mission control center here on Earth for these operations. They called this center, Duranki, meaning link heaven-earth. This place was equipped with space-age tracking and radar devices called Tablet of Destinies, to guide their spacecrafts. This place also contained a mysterious dark chamber called Dirga, which was primarily an advanced radar control device, to guide the spacecrafts to a safe landing in spaceport called Sipper. After a few thousand years of enthusiastic mining operations by Anunnaki astronauts, they had enough of the backbreaking labor. They were scientists and technicians, not ordinary laborers. They decided to unite and revolt against this menial job. There was the first mutiny, against the royal members of the family. Quickly it turned violent and out of control. Then their king Anu of heaven, or Nibiru, came to Earth to settle the disputes. Then, listen carefully. The so-called three trinities, Anu, Enki, and Enlil, held a closed-door meeting to establish a permanent mission control center, here on Earth. First it was established at a place called Sipper. But after the Great Floods, which destroyed all their establishments and almost even killed Anunnakis, this mission control center was shifted to a new place. Do you know which was that new place? Listen carefully. That new place was called Jerusalem. "200,000 years ago, this place was originally called Ur-Shulam, meaning the city of Shulam. Its name Shulam means the supreme place. When King Anu left Earth, soon after the two brothers were at each other's throat again. One thing led to another and there was the first Pyramid War. Enkiites and Enlilites were engaged in a stiff battle for control over the land of Magan, or Egypt, and the Mission Control Center, in Ur-Shulam, or Jerusalem. Enlilites were posed to win the war and were about to run over the camp of Enkiites. At that time their common half-sister Ninkursag came to broker a peace deal between the two. This peace deal is recorded in the poem I Sing to the Mother of Gods, in the book called Myths of Kur. The peace was reached between the two parties. Enlilites agreed to leave the complete control, and unanimously withdraw from the land of Magan or Egypt. Enkiites agreed to cease from interfering, and withdraw their troops called Children of Shem, from the Mission Control Center, in Ur-Shulam or Jerusalem. Soon after this there was a revolt in the Enlil's camp, as to who should be in charge of Jerusalem. Should it be Enlil's first legitimate heir son, Ninurta, or his grandson Shamash? Enlil decided to give the control to his grandson Shamash. on Jerusalem. Since that day 200,000 years ago, to recent past, the control of Jerusalem was under Enlilites. Enlilites became the governing class or chief representative, of authority, of their king Anu and Nibiru. Enkiites became the sole authority of all matters that were concerned with their mission on earth. While the Enlilites enjoyed favoritism, from their home planet Nibiru, on all matters, including the latest technology and decision-making. Because of the sole reason, that Enlil was their heir to the throne. And this pulled the strings, in the heart of their king, Anu and Nibiru. While the Enkiites were left for fend for themselves, and were ordered to get the job on earth, done by whatever means possible with little or no help from their king Anu. This mission control center in Jerusalem, also called, in Sumerian literature, as Dur-Enki, along with a dark chamber, called Dirga, in which it was held, lies in the exact spot on which today, lies the rock, around which, is built, the mosque called the Dome of Rock, or the Qubbat al-Sakra. Anunnakis were few on Earth compared to humans. Their reproductive gestation period to bear offspring were too long, due to their long lifespan, compared to that of humans, who with their short lifespan, bred at an alarming rate and were growing in numbers. The Anunnaki couldn't protect their only, and absolutely vital communication center, in Jerusalem, from falling prey to humans and their sworn enemies Enkiites. So they came up with a brilliant plan. They created humans, so they very much understood the psyche of human beings, from their study of thousands of years. They knew this animal called human would do anything if he only believed in it. Humans were basically animalistic in nature, and like all animals he would defend his territory ferociously from fellow human at all cost, even to point of his self-sacrifice, or annihilation, of the other humans, who threatened his territorial claim. Even if that territory were a slab of rock. Absolute genius. So they decided to appoint this human to defend this vital mission control center in Jerusalem. How will they make him do it with no remuneration? He is an opportunistic animal, who would only work if there is something to be gained in the process. They knew this human is a selfish animal, who puts himself first than anything around him. The Anunnaki thought for a while, and came up with a brilliant idea. Humans by that time knew that God created this universe and everything in it. So God must be having everything that you can imagine, minus all the sufferings. Who wouldn't want that? Even an opportunistic animal like human would not let that pass. So the Anunnaki decided to make man believe that defending that rock was in his own self-interest. How can they achieve this? They decided to play a lottery scheme, so to speak, and said whoever defended that rock would go to heaven and stay with God. But how can they make human defend that rock? He will do it. It can be done if you make him believe that rock actually belongs to God. So they played a little drama on that rock to establish its significance. First Enlilites sent Abraham to, on orders of his God, to sacrifice his son, Isaac, to show his fealty to his God. Secondly, Enkiites too wanted the control of the spot, so they sent their human faction to capture that rock and defend it too. So they decided to put Prophet Muhammad on that rock, and then decided to take him to heaven. Thirdly but not least, they decide to place the Ark of the Covenant was placed on that rock for a few millennia. Now everybody, Christians, Muslims and Jews wanted the piece of the action, and play favorite to their God, so that they will be let into heaven. Now let us quest further and find the true reason why this place in Jerusalem is so important to Anunnaki. For that to be understood, we have to do a little crash course in astronomy. Our Sun along with its planets comprise of our solar system, with the Sun at its center and planets revolving around it. In the year 1894, a saint in India named Swami Sri Yukteswar Giri, in his book called Holy Science, said that our Sun is in a binary star system. Which means, that our Sun, in turn, revolves around another star, keeping at it, as its center. This is confirmed by the mainstream scientists today, that indeed our Sun along with all its planets is racing through space in a fixed direction, at an unknown destination. Scientists today have figured out that unknown direction is leading towards a star called Vega, in the constellation Lyra. Complex moments of all these bodies in this solar system, and our galaxy, is more complex and works with precision, than a Swiss watch. Firstly, our Sun is drifting about 70,000 kilometers per hour, towards star Vega. Secondly, our planet Earth is drifting around the Sun at the speed of about 108,000 kilometers per hour. Thirdly, our solar system is part of the Milky Way galaxy, in which our solar system is tilted at an angle of 60 degrees, like a windshield of a car, is racing clockwise at the speed of 792,000 kilometers per hour around its galactic center. Not to mention the sheer number of countless asteroids and comets flying in and out of the solar system. Now, keeping all this in mind, think of yourself as a captain of a ship trying to get ashore of a known land. Now consider a scenario when the island you are sailing to itself is moving and is not stationary. And all the stars in the sky are moving randomly, and you cannot get a fix on your own position or the direction in which the island is supposed to be. This is the kind of nightmare facing the astronauts of other planets reaching Earth. Now in these circumstances, in these of unprecedented condition on the sea, the captain sees a lighthouse, blinking and beckoning the tired captain of the ship, promising dry land. This is what is precisely happening in the Mission Control Center in Jerusalem. The sophisticated technologically advanced instrument, in Jerusalem, not only serves as the only communication device for the Anunnakis to contact their planet Nibiru, but also as a beacon, a sort of a lighthouse if you will, giving out constant signals and coordinates about the location of the Earth, with respect to its surrounding space, to Nibiru. Whoever controls this sophisticated machine in Jerusalem, controls the information going and coming from Nibiru, and also what kind of messages are sent from Earth to planet Nibiru. Without Jerusalem, planet Nibiru is blind and deaf regards to what is happening on Earth. Enlil's faction, which includes Jews and Christians, use innocent people to exercise their control in Jerusalem, in the name of faith. Enki's faction, which includes Muslims, use innocent people to exercise their control over Jerusalem, all in the name of faith and promise of heaven. In other words, the innocent people of Jews, Christianity and Islam are the proxy's soldiers, fighting for a piece of land that is of strategic importance to the two clans of Anunnakis on this planet, namely Enlilites and Enkiites. The innocent people are like the fire ants, trying to guard a serpent's nest. with the promise of the mountain of honey, which does not exist. Now, you must be questioning yourself, what happens if they cannot contact planet Nibiru? For that to be answered, we have to do a crash course in Vedas, and decode them using the key of modern astronomy. As we have previously discussed the book called The Holy Science, by Swami Sri Yukteswar Giri, our sun is in the binary star system. What happens during this intricate dance of these two stars, and how the ancients have recorded their moments and consequence effects here on Earth, is vividly explained in the Vedas. If you chose to read and understand, it is a science journal, instead of some kind of collection of mythological stories that invoke devotion and tears in your eyes, due to your own desperation and ignorance on the subject which it intends to convey to humans and public in general. The length of time taken by the two binary stars to pass each other in one complete revolution is divided into 4 stages. These stages are mentioned as yugas in Vedas. The 4 yugas or periods are: Satya Yuga, when the two stars are closest to each other; Treta Yuga, when the stars are just beginning to leave each other's vicinity; Dwapara Yuga, when the stars at the midpoint of their revolution to each other; Kali Yuga, when the two stars at the farthest point from each other. Now that you have mastered the Vedas, let's see what it really means, these yugas. The magnitude of influence of the gods is the highest at the Satya Yuga, and gradually decreases as you go into Treta Yuga, and then to Dwapara Yuga, and finally no influence at all in Kali Yuga. It is like the closer their planet is to Earth, higher is their influence, and farther they are, the influence decreases gradually, finally to a negligible amount in Kali Yuga. Let us see what exactly happens in so-called God's favorite yuga, the Satya Yuga. In God's own words, Satya Yuga is their favorite period. In Vedas, it is written, "It is at this age gods walk the earth, when everything is established in truth, and there are no signs of any malice or destructive activity on earth." Let us decode what that sentence really means, in light of scientific knowledge, and some historical data available to us. We at Leon Nebula believe that during the Satya Yuga, when the two suns of our binary star system are closest to each other, the planet Earth of our solar system and planet Nibiru from the other star system are also closest to each other. During this time, our creator gods from the planet Nibiru would like to leave their planet and spend some time in the park called Earth, just for some recreational purpose. This planet Earth is part of their kingdom or empire. It is their property. They, that is gods along with their royal entourage and family members, come to planet Earth to relax and spend some quality time with each other on this beautiful park called Earth, with its mountains, valleys, rivers and beaches. During this time they want the planet to be absolutely safe for them and their family. They don't want any dangerous creatures lurking around. That dangerous animal, according to them, is human. They consider humans to be an abomination, some sort of mistake of nature. They compare humans to virus or pests that tend to destroy everything around it, just to feed itself. I am a human, and I totally seem to agree with them. We breed like rats, and destroy the environment we live in. And we have moved on to destroying our entire planet. Where were we? So yes, when they come they want the entire Earth to be safe for them. How can this be achieved? Simple, by total annihilation of the species on top of the food chain, this case humans. Now you know how annihilation of dominant species occurs on Earth periodically like clockwork. When the planet Nibiru is fast approaching planet Earth, the Anunnaki representatives, on Earth, get the message in the Mission Control Center in Jerusalem. The Anunnaki prepare to clean the entire planet of humans and sanitize it, preparing to welcome the royal entourage from planet Nibiru to land on Earth. This total annihilation is achieved very easily, either through comets, floods, or, this time around it is going to be a virus. Fellow humans, don't be dismayed. We were created as a slave to serve our gods. Just like the servants of a palace, tend to everything in the palace, and take personally upon themselves to the upkeep of the place. It doesn't mean the palace belongs to them. Just because you prepared the best meal ever to your king, he is not going to allow you to sit in the same table and share it with him. This is going on since millennia. Every time, during the onset of Satya Yuga, that is when the planet of our gods and our Earth is closing to each other's vicinity, total annihilation of human species is carried out. Enki, the creator of mankind, is frustrated and angered, and has had enough of this irresponsible and sinful act of annihilating working slaves, that is humans. He spends eons perfecting a slave race, and with great effort, after many hundreds of years, makes a successful prototype that works and serves to every command of Anunnakis. Finally only to be destroyed by the order of the royal Anunnaki. This they have done many times and with impunity, with absolutely no sign of remorse or responsibility. After destroying the responsibility to create a new slave race all over again falls on Lord Enki. He, Enki, has to pick up the pieces of what is left and start with the same project all over again, with all the requests and upgrades required by the royal Anunnaki to be incorporated into the new prototype. Now, can you see where our characters in mythological stories come from? All the creatures you see in the myths are true beings, not some hyper-imagination of a storyteller. These beings really walked the face of Earth previous to us, and were destroyed. After their creator, God decided that their time was up, or was not satisfied with the performance of that particular prototype being. All these creatures, some so awesome, and they were the pinnacle of creative achievement, were actually created by Lord Enki. Can you imagine the level of genius and effort required to achieve such successful creation? I ask you to put yourself in Lord Enki's shoes. Will you tolerate somebody destroys your hard work with no remorse and says, "Go on, you can do it again"? What will you do to such a person? This is what is happening in Lord Enki's mind. He has had enough. This time around, he wants to show he has run out of patience. This time around, Lord Enki is determined to frustrate the plans of Anunnaki to destroy humans. That is why he, Lord Enki, has captured the Mission Control Center, the chamber below the rock, in Jerusalem. He has taken the physical position of the site, and has installed his faction of followers to protect it. The other faction of followers of Lord Enlil and his father Lord Anu are fighting to again gain entry into the chamber to re-establish contact with planet Nibiru. Without this, they have no clue as to how far is planet Nibiru from Earth, or when it is going to reach. How much time do they have? Or what are the new standing orders from their king Anu from Nibiru. Enlilites don't want to be direct recipient of wrath and showdown from higher-ups in Nibiru. Their social order is old hierarchy system, where you serve your immediate higher-ups, with no questions asked. It will prove detrimental to disobey or fail in your job. This is the pickle the Enlilites are in today. They are raring to take control over the Mission Control Center again. This has been checkmated by Lord Enki. It is like Lord Enki has the lock, and Lord Enlil has the key. So now, you know the reason, what the conflict is all about. Lord Enki wants the Royal Anunnaki to be surprised, or gobsmacked when they reach Earth, and find humans still running around. And secondly, Lord Enki wants to give innocent humans a fighting chance to claim their right to survive on this planet. Edward Billy Meyer, who is also called a modern prophet, who was in contact with the extraterrestrial beings he called Plejarians, claimed in his books that according to the Plejarians, who were capable of time travel, have seen the future of mankind. Among many probabilities, there is a chance that mankind would survive and become a successful and responsible citizen of this galaxy and universe. And they continue to say, when man takes up a stand to take his right to survive against his creator will be furious. Man will be threatened with dire consequences and annihilation of his species and his entire planet. This will lead to a war of unprecedented catastrophe. It will be like end of days on Earth. In this war, both man and his creator will underestimate each other. Man was ill-considered, unaware of the full potential power of his creator. At the same time, the creator God will be amazed and surprised with the vigor in which man puts up a fight. All of mankind on Earth will be almost annihilated. Few handful of humans will continue fighting. According to extraterrestrials, Plejarians, who were in touch with Edward Billy Meyer, have said that man will one day take the fight to the doorstep of his creator. That is, man's ship will reach the vicinity of planet Nibiru. There, the general of Nibiru's army will threaten to blow up and incinerate the ships carrying few surviving humans, if their ships were to come any closer. At this moment, few elders in the Council of Anunnaki will state a case and argue on behalf of humans in their Council of Chambers. They will make others see the courageous, fearless and heroic fight put up by this human, simply because he believes in something. That is his right to survive like any other species. Such is the strength of his faith. Finally, after much deliberations among themselves, they allow man to approach their planet. Thus one day, man will finally meet his creator face to face. Though Lord Enki himself never wants to go back to Nibiru, after injustice his father and his brother have done to him and his siblings. Lord Enki will prove them all wrong with his creation, man, who will hold a mirror to the so-called Royal Anunnakis and make them reflect on the prejudice they have shown on other lives in this created universe, and make them realize how vulnerable they themselves are, and be humbled in the presence of the real creator of this universe. This will be the last hurrah of Lord Enki. We at Leon Nebula believe that this planet called Nibiru, or Planet X, whatever name they have given it, is not the real name of that planet, as they would call it themselves. Neither are the names that these individuals that are addressed in the ancient literature. They have deliberately concealed their true identity and planet where they come from. We believe that this planet of our Creator God's is not a part of our solar system, which means it does not revolve around our Sun. We believe that this planet of our Creator's is from a different star system. We suspect that star system to be Sirius star system. We suspect that these beings are a mixed race of different physical attributes. Some are aquatic beings and some are hominids beings. Some of them might also be hermaphroditic beings.